Welcome to What Chat with Spanky, Al, and Presley! Dada. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell down below.
Welcome to Let's Chat with Spanky Payne and co-host Al Reardon at the beautiful Spanky's Dive Bar.
Well, the days are getting shorter, nights are cold. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Sometimes this life is a double-edged sword, and it hurts me to think that you've been through so long way down. And when you get there, you gotta turn around. It's a long way down. Last year, this time, I was hoping that you were alright. Sun's coming up through the melting shadows. Looks like we made it through our darkest night. It's a long way down. And when you get there, you gotta turn around. It's a long stumble and start to slip, you were always there to catch my grip. Now it's my turn, for better or worse, so look to me. I was scared when the night closed in. I was left alone with all my sin. I just wanted to see you again. So now come to me, alright. Was up on town line looking at the diamonds below. Well, there's less and there's less of them every year. This town is getting poorer as each one goes. It's a long way down. And when you get there, you gotta turn around. It's a long down. Well, now come on, baby, I won't let you drown.
So yeah, we're here with Let's Chat with Al. We got Duane Carleton. We just heard some of his music. We're going to be playing more of it later on in the show. And from my hometown, we're on the same baseball team, and just way different years, but
few years apart.
Maybe a decade.
Yeah.
So, Duane, I would consider a Vermont music institution. I mean, it's been that kind of career. It's covered that kind of ground, that kind of scope. Pretty impressive to me and enjoyable to look back through, listen to, and follow along with. And it's possible that now that language and the genre namers have caught up to you, because it's Americana. It would be what most people would call it now. And I'm curious about, does that fit? Does that work?
To a certain degree. First of all, thank you for the kind words. That's nice of you to say. But yeah, probably some of the stuff that I've done is for sure Americana. But
absolutely.
Currently, I'm kind of returning to my roots. I have a new band, DC3. It's much more of a straight-ahead rock power trio, kind of in the vein of, Government Mule, Mountain, that kind of thing.
Now, who's in that band?
Brian Hobbs is the bass player. And
Brian's
Gary,
amazing bass player.
love Brian.
And, Gary Spalding, the drummer from 808 is
Yeah.
the
Yeah, I remember him.
Love Brian, and he plays with Chris Kleeman too.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
one of my favorite guitar players.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a DJ show after him. One show.
After Chris?
Yeah, because it was a wedding. He played the wedding, and then I was the DJ after he played, and of course they liked to party. They just kept feeding Jello shots all night. So they had the big bonfire. Holy crap, it was hotter than the house.
So, with this long-running and wide-spanning career, one of the things I know about it is you've played with like everybody, and the list is so impressive. Look it up. Anybody that stands out as somebody that overjoyed you or frustrated you, or
Yeah, I could
either
probably
way.
come up with both.
One or both, yeah,
I
that's
could
fun.
probably come up with both. Let's see, overjoyed, I would have to say I got to open up for Rick Danko of the band. Two different times.
Oh my God.
And both times he was gracious enough to actually get me up to play with him.
Oh, great.
And he was a very super cool guy. And to me, it was like, I mean, the band's one of my favorite bands, and legendary. I don't think they ever really got as much respect as they actually deserved.
Yeah.
And so that was the, that was the one where I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool. The frustrating one, I opened for Loverboy one time. And
Congratulations.
yeah, and on that one, it was one of those shows where we were told what time to show up for sound check, to set up, and their manager basically did a sound check with their equipment for hours. I mean, no lie, easily 25 minutes on just the cowbell for the 4 hits that working for the week.
More cowbell.
Wow.
They going, okay, take out a little bit of
Wow.
20K, gink. Actually walked in, and the whole back line was all set up and said everything needs to go 18 inches to the left. Like made him move the drums, made him move everything over,
Oh my God.
11 inches or something.
Wow.
And wouldn't let us come out and set up. When, told us, you guys stand over there, and I'll let you know when you can set up. And it got
Because we're Loverboy.
right, and it got to the point where there were people in the lobby, like, they had opened the front doors,
Yeah.
and the director of the theater had to go to them and say, we really need to
Yeah,
let
you're
those
done.
guys set up
Yep.
now.
It's funny. All right, so it reminds me of the band story, which is I camped out, waited overnight in line to see the band as part of the Rolling Thunder Review,
Nice.
and got skunked. They started selling at 8. By like 8:45, I got 6 people in front of me, and they dropped the window.
Oh.
It's sold out. I'm fucking
I saw
dead.
Loverboy last year, actually.
And then I was going to say, John has a Loverboy story,
Yeah.
which was
Well, it was...
including, remember what happened the day before?
Yeah, Left Hand Backwards, a band we've interviewed on the show. They played Everybody's Working for the Weekend.
They're a punk band.
They did it metal version.
They killed it.
And they did it awesome.
Yeah.
And then I saw Loverboy the next day in the rain at a NASCAR race. And they sucked at it. It was horrible.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm not staying in the rain for this. I'm going back under the bleachers. And then my son had like the thing where you can watch the race, and like he had the pit crew.
Yeah.
And they did like a different camera angles and all that. So I was like, all right, this is good enough. I've already heard this fucking song like by a better band.
And that day, the day before, it was a punk metal fest, Wookiee Fest. And we interviewed 17? 18 bands.
18 bands, 5 minutes apiece.
Wow.
And we filmed every one of them. So like between sets, we were doing quick interviews.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a long fucking day.
That was the closest to work it's ever been.
Yeah.
And none of the friggin' mics worked besides his camera, and the sound sounded like shit. So.
I do have one other band connection, though. Is on the album that I gave you that has me with my baseball uniform on.
Yeah.
74.
Make sure you get it.
Yeah, that's American Boys, the album, and Garth Hudson actually played on tracks on the album.
Yeah.
And that was one of those. It's one of those things in my life where I'm like, no matter what, nobody can take away that I spent 8 hours hanging out with Garth Hudson of the band,
Nope.
watching him play keyboards from this close to me and you, and talking to him.
Do you own a copy of The Last Waltz?
Oh yeah,
I do too.
that's a must-have.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't. I have mostly for the band. I only have it with Bob Dylan on vinyl. I don't have.
Vinyl, though.
I have.
You know, I
a lot
really
of
like
vinyl.
too is Robbie Robertson.
Yep.
Just,
That ain't the guy that just did the song with Bruno Mars, is it?
I don't think so. Catch
That'd be an interesting combo, though.
I think
I actually like Bruno Mars.
I do too.
Like, he's actually talented. Yeah.
I agree.
I don't like much pop music.
Boy, something like that could work. I think.
Right?
So we were talking about we're in the same area. He's got a lot of music videos actually at the ball field, and you should definitely check those out. We have actually. I used to do
YouTube. Some of that stuff's on YouTube, is it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, we used to go to open mics and play with him when I was only 18, and at the bars they let me in.
John, you know, my man John says he plays a little better when there's nudity involved, ladies.
I saw you play, and it was a long time ago. It was like 90, 91, and it was either like at Magic Mountain or Stratton Mountain or something. I think it was Stratton Mountain, but I'm not sure. There's a bit of fog.
Do you live off your music?
That was a long time ago.
That's your job.
That's
Play
your
full
job.
time.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, basically.
Not many people could say they do that, especially locally.
I mean, last year I played 275 shows.
Holy crap. Yeah. That's working for a living.
Yeah.
Working hard.
Everybody's working for
Stop
the
it.
weekend.
I was thinking, taking what they're giving because I'm working for a living.
Well, we were on the Loverboy thing though, and you kind of said it in the
Dude, we got Loverboy and Huey Lewis. What freaking year is it here?
Yeah. Definitely showing our
Like
age.
84 or something. Holy shit.
Of course, I used to love that Loverboy song. That's like the only one.
That working for the
really.
weekend one?
Yeah, that's like the only
what
one
else do they
that's
have
worth
going
Turn
on?
me loose.
Turn me loose.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the more repetitive songs of the year.
That era was fucking
Just
weird, anyways.
There was not a lot of great music. There was Asia.
Asia.
It was the heat of the moment.
It was.
Of course, the
Steve Howe. You can't go wrong with
the,
Steve Howe.
It was
the
like a super group.
I DJ, so it's like weddings and stuff. So it's like people will say, "I want this era, this."
DJing for old people.
And like I've done the 60s, 70s, 80s. You know, I have fun because I know the catalogs of all kinds of music.
Right.
And my son was like, he likes my song. He's like, I want to DJ. I'm like, well, you gotta learn a lot. You gotta learn every bit of music there is.
Yeah.
And you can't be judgmental. You can, but
Just not publicly.
when they said 70s disco, I was like lost. I'm like, but then I started playing it. I'm like, oh, I know what to play next. And like it just like started flowing.
Little Saturday Night Fever sound.
Oh, that's how I started.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I know this will work.
Little Donna song.
So you guys talked about that you both grew up in the same area.
Yeah.
And in the bio info it says rural New England.
Yeah.
But we know it's
Chippenhook.
West Central Vermont.
Yes.
Shipping
And
Chippenhook, Vermont.
being that as it is, you grew up in a rural area. You came from a small area.
Yeah.
You've made a successful music career.
I do okay.
Anything you'd want to say to a person that's in a small area that thinks, I want to go into the music business. I think I can do this.
Why not? Why not go for
That's
it?
the
I mean, you know, it may not be always kind of what you, what you pictured it being when you were 13. Maybe isn't what it is when you're 53.
Yep.
You know, it may be along the way you had to realize, like you just said, you can't sit there and go, well, I'm going to be judgmental about what you like, because if you're getting paid to play cover tunes,
Yep.
you got to play what people want to hear.
Yep.
So, you know, and I always looked at it, somewhere along the line, I learned the lesson too of who am I to poo-poo somebody else's musical taste? Because there's a reason that song's been around for 40 years, and maybe I should dissect that and figure out what made that a catchy tune.
That doesn't come at 20 years old, does
No.
it? I didn't have that at 20 years old. I poo-hooed a lot.
There's probably not many songs you don't know either.
Right.
And you cover pretty much everything.
I try to cover a pretty wide range. Well, I mean, pretty much my meat and potatoes is, like you said, you saw me at a ski resort, and you do happy hour at a ski resort. You got to cover a wide range, so like you were talking about Johnny Cash. I got to play just some Johnny Cash, But
A lot of people will say, "Just play Johnny Cash."
Yeah.
You play Freebird?
Sure. Sure.
I think
you're gonna hear it yelled out.
That was like the most we were a punk band, and like everybody was like, "Play Freebird!" And my guitar player was like, "Fuck you."
I tend to give them the it's like Beetlejuice. You have to ask me 3 times before I'll take you seriously enough to play it.
Wow. Write that down, kids.
That way it gives them a chance to an out. If you're only joking around,
Right.
Well, I mean, sometimes I've had to say that to people making a request for somebody will ask me to do AC/DC, and I love AC/DC, but I can't sing like that.
Yeah, you're gonna have to sing your own style. Then.
Right. I mean, so every once in a while, though, I would do I could do Big Balls, because he didn't really do the raspy thing on Big Balls, but
Of course,
he did the British thing.
One of my favorite
He's heavily
AC/DC
British
songs. One of my favorite AC/DC songs that you don't hear very often was still with Bon Scott.
Yeah.
Was it Bon? No, not Bon Scott. Fuck, what's the original one?
No,
Bon Scott.
Yeah, Bon Scott.
Yeah.
Well, there was actually Evan before him.
Oh,
There was actually one singer before him.
really?
And they redid all the songs later on. But it was really poppy.
Yeah.
There's a video of it. It's actually really weird. But Bon Scott, they Ride On.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Yeah.
That song is one of those songs you just could listen to a lot. It's just
I
it's
found some
chill.
stuff on YouTube with Bon Scott. Apparently, before he was an
There's a
AC/DC
lot.
man,
Yeah.
he was in some band that there was 3 lead singers. And he was one of them, and there's video of them on some TV show, and they're doing Buttercup.
I think I've seen that.
Build me up, baby, just to let me down.
I know.
Now that song's gonna be stuck in my
I
head.
thought you guys were too young for that. That was when I was a kid. That song was out.
Hey, I listened to a lot of 50s
That's
and
true.
60s.
Yeah, we all jump.
Don Shannon's
you
one of my favorites.
can, you can have your own time machine just by listening to music.
Yeah, agreed.
I always wanted to go, but if I ever had a time machine, I'd definitely go back to the 50s. But
Yeah.
actually, someone brought that up to me. It was like
I'd go back to the 50s and I'd build me a 63 split window Corvette.
Well, there was the 50s. It was like, I want to go back to the 50s. They're like, well, there was that was a totally different era. Women did what you wanted to do. There was blacks were segregated. I was like,
Yeah.
well, that would be weird. That would just
Right.
be weird.
Yeah.
But I could not imagine that.
No.
That would be a whole different world.
Well, that's when you think about it.
But the women waiting on you,
really more in
the women waiting on you ain't a bad thing. That'd be fun.
Your wife must be out of earshot.
Well, she would kill me because she makes me do the dishes every night. So
Going back to the kind of the depth and breadth of the career track for you, I'm trying to get a handle on it, and I want to do that by give me some of the numbers. Now, you said that you played 275 shows last year.
Yes.
How many albums have you put out? 18? Is
Somewhere
it?
in that vicinity.
18. How many years have you been doing this?
Well, oddly enough, when we were just talking earlier, we were setting up. This year, around November, would be the 40th anniversary of my first paying show.
Holy fuck, man!
wow,
Okay.
we didn't get paid.
Getting it done. Getting it done.
I got paid
And it
with
was,
that band.
and it was with my brother's band. That was your Boy Scout leader. My older brother.
Small world, folks.
When I wouldn't have imagined him in a band being the Boy Scout leader.
It was like a folk. He had a folk trio, so it was 2 acoustic guitars and a guy that played bass, and they all sang. And one guy wouldn't play banjo and a penny whistle besides guitar. And he would tell all these like funny jokes and do all these different accents and stuff, and and they were
musical comedy.
Yeah, they were pretty much like the house band up at the end of Long Trail.
Yeah,
because they did a lot of they were a folk band. They did a lot of like Irish tunes and stuff like that, and I'd only probably been playing 6 months maybe at best on the guitar.
Well, let's get this out there.
Yeah, and my brother was like, "Well, a bass player is going out of state, and we need you to fill in and play bass and sing, which I'm still a really bad bass player. So I can imagine, at 13, like how bad that was. But that was my first Payne, and then I was
you got to share it somewhere.
I was like, let's get this straight. I just played in a bar.
Yeah, they gave me money,
and I got money, and I played music. I'm like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah, I could do this. I want to do it again.
I want to do it
Tell
again.
about your brother. He was a great Boy Scout leader. He had the character for it for sure. Like
he was into it.
He always had that walking stick, and he
I did it. I did 3 rounds as a scout leader.
Of course, it was at an old schoolhouse, so made it even cooler. For us kids, like now they do it in like someone's living room, but man, we had a good time back in the day doing Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
Well, you're the player and you're the singer, and I have to say, very good at both.
Thank you.
But there's also the instrument, and you play a Martin guitar, and
Yes.
it's fucking beautiful.
Thank you.
And it sounds great.
Thank you.
And I know that every guitar has at least one good story attached to it. And there's got to be one for your Martin guitar. What do you
For
want to
that
tell us
guitar?
about it? Yeah.
That one's actually fairly new to me. I only got it a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Essentially, the story on that went that the studio that I go to record at, one of the producers, Tim Lynch at the recording company, he
I thought you recorded at fucking Mount Hollywood.
years ago.
Yeah.
He also is a keyboard player and a guitar player, and we do gigs together. And at some point, though, he decided, like, I've got to get a nicer Martin for my studio. And he told me, he said, I'll sell it to you. And he gave me a deal that was too good to turn down. It was, so he said, you can even take it and try it out. So I took it and I used it for
It's like a fucking car salesman.
Yeah, exactly. So I tried it out and I was like, man, this thing sounds great. And I kept going back to him going, like, are you really sure you want to sell it? Because I think this sounds pretty good. Like, and I wouldn't sell it if it was me. And he no, I definitely want to sell it. So I ended up buying it.
Well, what was he playing?
He was playing that.
Yeah, I know, but what was he replacing it with?
He wanted a more expensive Martin for his studio, thinking it was, it would be kind of a bit of a draw that, he could use it as sort of a calling card.
All right, yeah.
Amongst my equipment, I also have this.
You get to play this?
Yes, exactly.
Did you know where the cheap Martins were made? Glued together? Rotten plywood.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
When? Do you know?
Well, I was working there, and they were gluing all these pieces together, and they're like, "Oh yeah, these go to Martin guitars."
Wow.
And I was like, "Well, I only worked one day in that because like everybody in that department were there for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And they're losing their teeth, losing their hair.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
like,
easy now.
And they were they were like, you could tell they were getting like I was there one night and I was high as fuck.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Glue fumes.
and I was like looking at them. I'm like, no, put me back on the dryer. They're like, well, the glue pays more. I'm like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I do not want to end up like them.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, but yeah, that's what they used to dry the wood there, and for Martin, the cheaper Martins, like they had the more expensive ones. We actually gotta take a break.
We should take a break.
Standing next to you, you don't know I'm there. I hate what shadows. Shoes too thick to fill. You want to ignore me. In fact, you probably will. 'Cause I'm invisible. I'm invisible. You don't know the way I feel. Don't even know yourself. You don't seem to know what's real. I'd like to show you. You don't know the way I feel. Don't even know yourself. You don't seem to know what's real. I'd like to show you. But I'm invisible. I'm invisible. I'm invisible. I'm invisible.
Let's Chat is back.
We're back. Is there any question we should be asking you right now that you'd like to ask yourself?
That I'd like to ask myself.
Something like that.
Huh.
Or a question for us.
I'll word it a different way.
Okay.
Is there anything we fucked up and didn't ask you that we should have asked you?
Not yet. I mean,
All right.
I don't know.
Well,
what
there's
the
time.
I don't know what the time limit is, but I mean, so far so good.
We got an hour show.
You could ask me if I have a new record coming out.
Do you have a new record coming out?
I
Is there
do.
anything recent you'd like to promote?
Exactly. See? Yeah.
We would have got
Did
that.
you come?
Yeah,
we would've got
okay,
that.
well, there you go. Yeah, I have.
But we're here now.
DC3 is actually we're recording right now, and it will be out this year. And actually, I plan on doing a vinyl release.
Ooh, I'll be there. I want
And
it.
Rust was the previous release?
No, actually,
Alright.
I'm sorry, A Girl Like That.
A Girl Like
was,
That.
was the last album.
Right.
And then Rust was prior to that.
Yep. Gotta get the chronology right
Yeah,
here.
well, when you, like you said, when you have 18 records,
Right.
it
Yeah.
goes back a ways.
Now, how do you do on CD sales? Is it-
It's different, but okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely evolved. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, I've
Download.
noticed.
because I'm still doing like happy hour gigs. I mean, I'll still sell CDs. Basically right directly to people at a live show. I did just see an email that CD Baby's sending me a check, so I do get online sales. But
I've noticed recently.
Yeah.
There was this MP3 fringe that happened for a while, but with Napster and all the download programs. But I've noticed now that the younger generation's been wanting to collect physical copies.
I like having the physical
I do
copy.
too.
And I'm a physical cop because I got vinyl. Like I like to have that collection.
Well, I think a lot of people learned the hard way when the MP3 kind of thing came out, and this is great. I can put 10,000 songs here until that device dies,
and you lose all.
You chucked all your records or your
Yeah.
CDs now. So.
And you mentioned the CD sales at shows, and it reminds me to remind you to buy that shit because this is what it's all about, and it's one of the few ways you can get CDs now without having them mail order them
Shipping
or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's direct, and it's usually very reasonable. And you see a person, you're like, hey, let's hear more of that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because it's all original stuff on your CDs, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So like when he's playing live, he's playing a lot of covers, but you get to hear all his originals. And
Yeah, and and it's nice then. I'll give requests for original tunes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it makes it pretty cool for me that I can. It's like, oh yeah, I can play a bunch of covers. Some of them real obvious choices. Some of
Well,
them
gee, Duane,
obscure,
what's
but
your
then
most requested tune when you play?
My most requested.
What gets
tune?
requested?
I think it depends on what year maybe last year it was Wagon Wheel, but sometimes Freebird. My most requested.
That's
song
the
of
drunk
mine-
request.
Yeah, I mean, Rust might be the one of my own tunes that gets requested a lot.
My niece was working, and there's a guy that plays there every Thursday night. And I never asked her, so like on the third or fourth Thursday, she's listening to him, not by choice. I said, so how is he? He's like, well, everybody mangles Wagon Wheel, but this guy in particular hacks it to shreds.
I actually like the Dearest record version too.
Yeah.
Like he's got actually a good voice in that.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
there isn't many versions I don't like that are professionally recorded.
Who doesn't?
That's a good song. It's just a good song in general.
Well, let's cut with Cena though.
So now I'm gonna take your question. Seems you interrupted me.
All right.
Yeah. What was the serious question?
It wasn't really serious, but we were talking about your family seems like they grew up in music.
Yeah.
Was your dad a musician?
Yeah.
What did he play?
He was a drummer, and when my parents were first together, my understanding, because that was before my time, but they actually would play gigs to make extra money. Now
cool.
his mother, she played gigs and like lounges, like the Howard Johnsons and stuff like that. She was an organist and. She played for silent movies. And my grandmother, the other side played for silent movies.
Wow.
Wow, so both sides musicians.
Genetic.
Yeah, well, and the other thing that it's like I did pick up
He didn't even have to learn the instruments. He just
And your mom played.
my mom was a piano player. She actually played a couple of instruments. She also played drums in high school, but she was a piano player. Actually had the opportunity, had she not, let's say the nice way, started a family, she actually would have gone on to music school.
Yep.
so you guys all ruined it for her, right?
Not me. My oldest brother ruined it for her. But
Now, your parents still alive? No.
Sad to hear that.
Yeah, sad to hear that. But so kind of on your parents' situation, when you were, say, 8 years old.
Oh, this is the question we were trying to get you all
in your
along?
parents' car.
yeah,
What were they playing?
what were they?
What were you
playing?
hearing?
What were they playing?
Well, on the car radio,
Yeah.
probably just whatever was on.
Well, then
Now,
we'll go to what were they
AM
playing?
radio?
Well, probably would have been just whatever the local Rutland stations were, WSYB or
Was it AM radio?
HWB, yeah, back then. And then I can say this, like, because my dad was a mechanic, and I know in his shop, like the George Jones and Johnny Cash we were talking about, that would have fit right in. And
Yeah.
My dad go back
my-
and Johnny Cash,
and my-
George Jones.
And my mom, like when because she still played piano all through the rest of her life, but it would be kind of stuff, not like show tunes, but like some classical stuff, and Claire de Lune, that kind of stuff. Some show tunes, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about show tunes.
What?
Doris Day just died.
Doris Day.
Yeah.
Bicycle chick. Always rode a bicycle through her whole
Really?
life.
That's why
There's
she
a
lives so
million
long.
pictures available of Doris riding a bike.
She could
Oh, yeah.
sing. Woman could sing.
My dad used to sing the Que Sera to my sisters all
Yeah.
the time as a kid. So he used to sing.
When they were pissed off about something, what do you say?
No, he was
Such
singing
is
to.
life.
He was singing to him at night. My dad, like I remember my dad singing to us. Like he was always a singer, but he like never. He was his stepfather was like work, and that's it.
Right.
Like, so that's what the way he went. But he could sing. He used to be able to sing Elvis pretty good. He used to sing Old Shep to me when I was going to bed. Old Shep, like word for word. That was awesome. Of course, me and him used to listen to a lot of George Jones.
Yeah.
When George Jones died, he died like right before our birthday party. My birthday party, and I was like, George Jones died. It
Right.
turned into where Johnny Earthquake came with only his steel, and he played all George Jones all night at the junkyard, and
Oh, wow.
and so that night I ended up being pretty tearful-eyed because like that's
George
my connection
Jones.
with my father.
He makes me want to see how drunk I can get and still drive my tractor.
Lawnmower, yeah, exactly.
I saw him live at the fairgrounds.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't that. It was George Jones.
Right, but not at his prime.
But yeah, he was 68 years old, and
A lot of hard knocks there.
of course they tried to trick you because like he always was known for the No-Show Jones. So they come out, oh, George isn't gonna be able to come on right now, and you're like fuck you.
Wow.
But yeah, like the race is on was very slow.
It was a slow race?
Yeah, it was a slow race.
Slow race.
But I was still grateful to see George
You just-
Jones before he
You
passed.
just reminded me of a story that a friend of mine who used to play keyboards in my band. He lived in Nashville for a while.
Yep.
And at some point, he was playing with, I'm going to forget her name, the girl the woman that did Harper Valley PTA.
Jeannie C. Riley.
Jeannie C.
yeah.
Riley, yeah, he played with her. And apparently at some gig that they were at, somebody of George Jones was there, and apparently was getting pretty loaded. And his buddy bet
No, George?
bet him $100 that he wouldn't get up and do that song with the band. And so my buddy tells a story that he said, yeah, he got up and same thing, he counted it so slow. And he said, I've never seen anybody, when he looked at me and we made eye contact, his eyes were literally swimming in two different directions.
I've seen that.
But Pam Tillis opened up for him.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen a lot of like I've said, I've seen a lot of country. I've seen a lot of everything, jazz. I go see everything.
See, that's good. Should be.
A lot of people like there's the metalheads.
You smoking that?
Yeah, the metalheads. They only listen to metal, and I hate that. Like I got so many metal friends.
Music prejudice
They
sucks.
just listen to metal, and that's it.
Right.
It's like
When I used to do lessons, I used to give lessons in the early '90s, and I would tell my students, I'm like, don't close yourself off to anything, because you might be surprised where you'll hear something that catches your ear that you can transfer to your guitar. That
the Machine
Yep.
was amazing.
I made sure my kids at a very young age listen to classical and Zeppelin and Eminem.
yeah,
Have you ever
Yeah.
seen the Machine?
the Pink Floyd tribute. Yeah.
We saw them at, what was that, Pickle Barrel?
Pickle Barrel. They're amazing live. Holy crap.
I have seen Pink Floyd a couple
Uh,
times.
I'm jealous.
Fuck you. Jesus.
Where'd you see him?
I saw them at the Montreal Forum. I saw them at the Olympic Stadium. I think that's also in Montreal, right? Yes. And then I saw them in Nassau Coliseum.
Wow.
I never have. Never have.
Well,
I'd love to see Roger Waters. Didn't we look into seeing Roger Waters?
wanted
I've
to
seen
see
Roger
Roger
Waters
Waters.
twice. I just saw him like
My
a
brother-in-law.
year and a half
My
ago.
brother-in-law goes to see them.
Yeah.
Every time they come.
I have it all. You know what I really like is the. I'll get there.
Whatever was in that pipe.
The pros and cons of
Hitchhiking.
hitchhiking.
Yep.
Of course, I
Eric Clapton, David Sanborn.
Yeah.
I was like when I was in school, like when I was in elementary school, I was like a huge Elvis fan and Beatles fan and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
That was probably pretty popular, huh?
And,
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't, and like
You got a lot of dates.
I was, I was picked on because I used to do Elvis impersonations.
Really?
Yeah,
This video.
I got a suit.
Oh, yeah?
I got the whole suit.
Really?
And
How old were you?
I started at 7 till I was like 12. I went to the Mill River my first year doing a talent show doing
Elvis.
Elvis.
You know that going back to Bruno Mars, that he was on Star Search
As Elvis.
as an Elvis
Yep.
impersonator as a little kid.
And it was I was picked on hard.
Really?
So then I went to punk where I didn't give a fucking shit. And then I said to all my punk friends, I don't listen to that crap. I don't listen to that crap. And as you get older, it's like you listen to whatever the fuck
Yeah,
you want.
whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
I mean, think about it, really. I mean, Elvis was sort of the punk of his generation because he came out. And,
He really
people were
was.
like, holy cow, this guy is like shaking his hips, and
You know how he
great
started?
singer.
Right, there was Elvis, then there was Elvis Costello, then there was Duane Carleton.
Yeah, I don't shake my hips really. But,
Well,
You can work on that.
I could work on
He
it.
started shaking because he was so nervous that first show,
Right.
and that's all it was. He was just nervous as hell.
But then he had a gimmick.
Yeah.
It worked. People talked about him.
Yeah.
You know, and they didn't want. They wouldn't show him on TV.
Shoot him from the hips up.
Yeah.
Shoot him from the waist up.
Yeah, Ed Sullivan show started the hips up thing.
Yeah.
All right.
I wish I was
another
in a
base we got to
time where
cover.
there wasn't Ed Sullivan show. Fuck, man, that's.
There isn't
that's
like
a
variety
cool
show on
show.
TV anymore.
No, I know. They
No,
had like
nothing like that.
juggling, freaking everything. They had
Topo Gigio.
Another.
music.
My mother had
You
a
got that.
My
You
mother
didn't-
had a
you didn't get
Topo
that one.
Gigio keychain. I remember
Topo
that.
Gigio.
I
Yeah.
never heard of that.
It's
He was
the little
he was
mouse.
the puppet mouse.
Okay, I have seen that.
Yeah. So another base we got to cover. Social media connections.
Yep.
We want the people to be half the freaking point here is to get it out there,
Sure.
spread it around.
Sure.
So how can people get a hold of you? What do they want to look up?
They can look up www.duanecarleton.com.
There's that.
I'm on Facebook. I have a couple of pages on Facebook. I have a personal one and a artist one.
Yeah.
YouTube. There's a YouTube channel.
Yep.
You tagged me with the band one, and I didn't know that there was actually a band one. Until
Oh yeah, the
until
DC3.
today.
DC3 one.
There's
Yeah.
a DC3 Facebook page too.
Yeah.
Now,
Duane Carleton cubed. Holy
Yeah,
crap.
exactly.
now you were a member of the Huge Members,
I
right?
was an original member of the Huge Members.
Which, when I first met Kurt,
I didn't know that.
Kurt actually taught me some things on bass
Yep.
when I first started playing bass. He's the one that got me into playing a little slap,
Yep.
and I actually learned part of a Huge Members song was,
Was it the song Big Dick?
I think so,
That was Kurt's too.
and like Kurt would show me the slap part of it, and
Yep.
it was when that reunion that memorial show I was there at that one,
Yep.
and that was the first one the year after he died.
Yep.
But yeah, Kurt was an amazing bass
Kurt
player.
and I were roommates.
Really?
When he moved to Rutland, he lived with me.
Yeah.
We had an apartment on East Washington Street, and we were in the Huge Members together. At the same time, he was also playing with like this. He had like a metal band that was, when I say metal band, it was more like, kind of like the late '80s kind of LA kind of glammy kind of metal. It was, spandex metal.
Well, that's
and-
what was cool about Kurt. He
Yeah.
took to everybody.
Well, I mean, when I first met him,
You had to have the hair.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
When I first
Yeah.
met him, he was a couple years older than me, and so when I was probably early high school, maybe sophomore, maybe, and I would go to our drummer's house in Wallingford, and we wanted to jam this one day, and we didn't have a bass player to jam with, and he goes, "Oh, I know this guy. He's down the street," and he went down and he grabbed. And at the time, Kurt had this like big long beard. He was like this scary looking dude, this big huge dude with a big beard, and he comes up with his Rickenbacker, and he's like, "Hey, do you guys know any Yes song?" He was really
Yes?
into Chris Squire, so that was his guy, and so he was like, "Hey, any Yes tunes,
Wow.
And,
Art rock.
Yeah, exactly. That was his. It was real.
I love that shit back then.
Yeah.
His bass playing was amazing.
But he would play with all 8 fingers. I mean, he was a really talented, unique individual all the way
Of course,
around.
the Huge Members was awesome.
That was a fun band. When we first started out, I
It
can even
was,
tell
it
you
was
how
Johnny,
John Azer,
Rick
Reardon,
Renton, Kurt,
Standard,
and
and
you.
me.
Rick's still getting it done, huh?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
still
Rick's-
out there doing it. Yeah,
Rick does a lot of shows. I always see his Facebook Live.
yeah, he's way to the Facebook Live. Yeah. So the Huge Members name came about because. So we'd done a bunch
That's
of
all
jamming
big
and
guys,
writing.
I
Because we
figured.
were all big guys, but we had a gig booked at the Silver Club, and this guy Willie Maynard owned it, and
Where was it?
Rutland. You know where the old parking deck used to be?
Yeah.
It was
I do.
right there on Evelyn Street, right on the corner.
Yeah.
And we didn't have it. We hadn't come up with a band name, so Willie was like, "Yeah, I want you guys to play on Friday night." And we, and he just next thing we know, there's a sign out front that says Friday night, the Huge Members. And we were like, well, I guess we got a name now. It's,
Wow.
It was all because we were big.
Well,
guys.
Johnny was fucking. He's like a just tall,
Super tall, yeah.
tall freaking guy.
Yep.
And he could get. I bet you he could win in a few fights.
Oh yeah.
We took him to a few fights. People looked at him and they're like, nope, okay.
Yeah, if you got him riled up, definitely.
It wasn't hard.
No.
It wasn't hard.
No.
Love Johnny.
Yeah, me too.
Do you have any serious questions?
I was gonna ask you.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I knew
thought
you
there
were.
was a
That's
serious
why
question.
it's like a counterpuncher.
Do you have any serious questions?
I have a serious question, and I'm going to think of it soon.
See, you put yourself on the spot that time.
Yep. Here's a
So
serious.
now I
Here's a
have
serious
to-
question: Is where do you see it all musically in 10 years?
For me, or just
For
in
you.
general?
For you.
For me?
And in general after.
All right. Well,
Two-part question.
in 10 years from now, for me, I highly doubt that I'll be doing 275 shows a year at that point.
I'm not so sure. You might be.
Maybe, but I'm going to count on probably not. But
Musicians don't have a retirement.
I mean, I'll still, I'll still be playing
The
gigs.
union sucks.
Yeah. But and I'll still be writing and recording and stuff like that for sure. I see doing that. And in general, I don't know. It's a different ball game now from when I was.
It is, and kind of. I'm going to double this question up because I kind of had an idea to
Triple
ask you
question
because
to a
you've
double
been,
question?
You've been doing it a while. And things have changed
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in the digital age now.
Yeah.
So the combination of the two questions of how do you think it's changed during the time you've been in the music industry,
Yeah.
and where do you see it going?
Oh, it's changed a lot.
Yeah. Well, just kind of background from when I first started playing. So we're talking 1979. When I first started playing, gigs. It's back then, and I'm going to use Rutland as the reference. Is back then there were more bars per capita in Rutland than anywhere else in the country, and there was more places to play, and there were clubs like Whirlaways and Cousins that had circuit bands coming in 7 nights a week, and they were busy 7 nights a week. Drinking age was 18. There were no Atari was just coming out, so it was like no right.
Right.
I saw your shirt.
People actually went out.
And even think about it, like HBO and cable TV were just kind of coming in. So, when I first started playing, it was more like live music was the entertainment. It's what you did. You went out.
It was pre-MTV, pre-ESPN.
Right. So, people would keep track of who their, favorite bands were, and they would make sure to go see them. It was like the circus coming to town. You had to go see, whoever was, if you were into 8084, you were going to go to Whirl or Cousins to go see them or whatever.
Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden I saw things happening where, they started cracking down on DUIs. They
still do that.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
bars.
like in the '80s, there was a point kind of before
things
that
changed a lot.
where they might be more inclined to go.
Well, they target
Hey,
certain places sometimes.
Right.
Like my wife tells a story about her and a friend of hers getting pulled over when they were in college, and the cop going, "Okay, you're definitely not okay to drive.
Yeah.
Is your friend
Can you call
okay?
a friend?" Right.
Is your friend okay? Sure.
Yeah.
Never mind that we've been out together. And they would be like, "Okay, you can drive the car home."
Yep.
That would never happen now. Now
No.
they'd be like, "Cha-ching,
Yeah.
we're going
I was told that
cash
I
in."
need to call a friend, and we'll wait
Yeah.
here until my friend gets
Exactly.
here and drive the car home.
It was a whole different mentality. So, so what I saw happening, all of a sudden, it was like that kind of happened. They decided we're going to change the drinking age to 21. So immediately there was that group of people that couldn't even go into the club anymore to see.
Right.
So you lost all those people. Then you started, because of the, the knee-jerk reaction would be, well, I can stay home and watch 100 channels of cable. I can get a 12-pack and play video games at home and not risk the DUI. So you started seeing it kind of dropping off like that. Then, then when we got into the 90s, and all of a sudden it was like,
Internet.
yeah, the internet came along, and I mean, if you want to talk like the record industry got, you know, crushed because they didn't see what was coming down the pike, and all of a sudden you had file sharing, and people could burn discs that were exact duplicates of the records, and took a big bite out of that. So all of a sudden there was like, we're not going to dump money into unknown bands anymore, and we're only going to get behind, you know, Garth Brooks and the Rolling Stones.
The internet fucking killed it.
Yeah. You know, and it also, there was a point also in that same time period where the government deregulated radio.
Yeah.
Where they said, because it used to be you couldn't be someone that owned more than like a certain number of radio stations in an area.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I mean, look in Rutland.
Clear
they're all owned by the same.
They're all owned by the same.
Yeah. Right.
And so what happened is
You
all
have
of a
like
sudden,
two major companies, three companies, two
Now they all
major
run out of the
companies that
same
own
place.
most of the radio stations in
Right.
America
and
now.
the same thing happened with the record industry, where all of a sudden it was like all those indie labels like disappeared because they didn't have the backing
making
to
money.
Right.
Well, there's still some out there.
Yeah, there's
College-
There's more now than there was at the time you're referring to.
College radio.
It's come back.
Well, now college radio is even kind of getting like closed up, because I mean I've seen things recently where they're like,
Well, they're not funding them anymore.
So they're going.
Same with
I
public
saw
access
like
TV.
Castleton they aren't actually broadcasting anymore now.
No,
It's
it's
just
just
stopped.
on-
I did a few shows on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that used to be a viable outlet. But I've seen
My
some
son
college
goes to Castleton.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just finished his junior year.
The problem was with Castleton, you only got pretty much Castleton.
Right. Yeah, it was a small broadcast. Right.
I liked when one of the few times I've ever heard of the U.S. government having forethought was when they left spaces in the radio dial.
Right.
And they said, no, someday we might need these spaces.
Right.
And that opened up the opportunity for low power FM.
Right.
About 15 years ago, they went, hey, we got these spaces we could give away.
I was on when I first started interviewing was radio.
Yeah.
And like I did
Low
we have
power
a
FM.
station here called Wool.
Okay.
And
It's
it was
great, too.
Black Sheep
Yeah.
Radio, and we would I had an 2-hour show on there.
Yeah.
And it was I'd get bands in there. I'd have a band in there, they'd play, if they're a punk band, they'd play 2 songs acoustically.
Yeah.
And then we'd interview them and play music in between. And
Yeah.
like, we'd also play like their album, like a song off their album too.
Well, I mean, I've seen that also kind of happen in Rutland too. Like, there was a point in the '90s where, before 94.5 The Drive was 94.5 The Drive, it was the peak, and it was actually a little station up in Killington.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
It was right above the Outback.
Yeah.
Or up above Peppers. And,
Right, Peppers.
Right? And that place was great because it was kind of a free-for-all. It was kind of what radio should be. Like, when they first started, you'd hear, like, a Pat Metheny tune with a George Jones tune, then some brand new band that you'd never heard of, and then some, like, live bootleg recording of some 70s band. You know? It was like
I was
all over
into
the
that
map.
station.
I used to set themes.
That bar downstairs was cool too. They had like the mousetrap cages where the citrus would
I played there
run
for
through
like
30
16
feet.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did a themes, like, so one night I would do Ladies Can Do It Too, and it would be like everything from like Madonna, Cyndi Lauper, to this death metal girl singer.
Yeah.
And like one night I did Vinyl Night.
Nice.
And that was hard.
Yeah.
That was-
a lot more challenging.
That was
turntable.
really fucking hard to like try to concentrate on the show and have 2 record players on the right song at the right
As
time.
long as you didn't use that 50s DJ thing about stacks of wax and all that stuff. You know? We got stacks of wax.
Well, we interviewed bands and got bands, and we had like top 10 reasons. We had a game show where people
Which
call
led
in
to the
and won.
end of the show eventually with your top 10 reasons because...
We had top 10 reasons. The reasons the show ended was top 10 reasons you might think you're gay.
Or you might be gay and not know it.
You might be gay, and there was one that was like really kind of gross, and like because you know those public access stuff is owned by a group of people.
There's a board.
Oh.
The owner is actually the president, but he can't. He's just a vote.
Can't outvote the board.
So the owner, president, is gay. He thought it was hilarious.
Right.
He thought it was great.
He was outvoted.
But all these other people that were like, oh, we got to protect gay rights. We got to protect gay rights. We got to protect gay rights. Were like, voted me out.
Right.
But it was like, he was like, I thought it was hilarious. I was like, I know, we didn't need no hate. Like,
Right.
It was just a joke kind of thing. And he's like, yeah, I thought it was awesome.
There's no hate involved.
Right.
So the only person that was not offended by it was the only gay guy.
Right.
And then they started picking apart every part of the show. Like,
Right.
so like our last show, we knew it was our last show. They're like, you can't talk about anatomy. You can't talk about this.
Right.
You can't do this. So we like played big balls, my dang-a-lang, everything they hinted to,
Right.
genitalia.
Right. But didn't come flat out.
Didn't come out flat and say it.
Right.
So like we just knew it was our last show, and
Yeah.
we just went all balls out like
Well,
that.
that station up in Killington, when it was still up there, it was like that. It was, but then what happened? All of a sudden, when they had record companies saying, "Okay, we'll provide you, the new CDs coming out, but that means you got to play this many
this
of them
one
per
this many
hour,
times,
and then so
which is right next to payola.
right, and so there was like maybe a couple of months where this friend of mine was a DJ, and I would go up and I would sit in on his show, and we kind of riff back and forth, and every week same thing. We'd all of a sudden be like, oh, okay,
We gotta play
Andy,
this.
You can't do this anymore, and you can't say this anymore, and so like every week it was getting more and more restrictive, and and then eventually. That's one of the stations that got bought out, and it's owned by the same company out of Albany.
I've been a radio guy my whole life. I've
been trying to convince him
I
to-
don't watch TV.
Yeah.
We're trying to convince him to go become a member of Wool, and
I
just
am
say
a
he's
member
going to be
of
the host,
Right.
and I'll just be
Then
the
get you back on.
host and get me back on.
I already am a member, but I don't know if that's going
I
to
don't
help.
have time for that shit no more. We're 2 TV shows and the dive bar,
Yeah.
Punk in the Park, family.
Yeah.
Punk in the Park takes up too much time.
But I mean, like you said though, but that's kind of what all kind of went into making the whole music scene and the whole music industry in general very much different than it used. I do a lot of, like I said, I do a lot of like happy hour and stuff like
People
that.
that watch the show know that, and I'm going to do it again right now, but almost every episode, I think every episode, I have strongly encouraged people to please
Go
go
to
out
shows.
and see live music,
Right.
support these motherfuckers,
Right.
buy the merch, see the shows.
Well, see, it changed a lot. It's kind of the same story since I started, because my band started in '97.
Yep.
And like we just passed out flyers
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
plastered the fucking place.
I used to do that too.
And like people would go because they knew their friends were going to be there.
Right.
We didn't call each other on the phone. We didn't really. That was weird.
Right.
So we'd go and we'd hang out at the show. We knew
right.
they were going to be there.
Yep.
And then like Yahoo free disc started coming out.
Oh yeah.
Everybody was chatting on Instant Messenger, and like we all musicians thought that was gonna be a great thing.
Yep.
Hey, we can spread
So
the
video
message.
killed
we can
the-
spread the message. We can spread the message.
Right.
We can make events. We can do all this, but all they do is click going, and they don't go.
So it's
They don't
video
go.
killed the radio star and social media killed the club scene?
Well, I mean, think
It
about it.
did.
Because even now we think that it's like, oh yeah, you can go on Facebook and you can do an event, and you can invite everybody you want to, and
You think
Yeah.
it's gonna be huge?
Yeah, but there's
Right.
people that go on
But you're not
social
the only
media
one
and
doing
check
it.
out the club scene and actually go out.
right.
And
Well,
there's people that just say, "Oh,
There's a
yeah,
lot of people
I see
that
the club
does-
scene
that's
on,
right.
on social media."
There's a lot of talk where, oh yeah, we're going to be there, and then they're not. That's definitely
Right, like the going.
But I
one.
mean, it's kind of like YouTube, where people go, "Oh, isn't that amazing? Like you can make your own videos and you can post them up." And it's like, yeah, and
No,
you're
it's
one- and you're-
oversaturated with
I was
crap.
just gonna say, you're one of like
86 billion.
billion people doing the same thing.
Of course,
so
I'm-
there's nobody weeding out the garbage to go.
I'm a guy that watches YouTube a lot, and I've discovered a lot of good shit.
Oh yeah, I found a
bands
lot of cool.
Yeah.
that are just not really known people, but
Right.
of course with the music video show, they all send music videos into us, and like we've been like we're getting all these music videos from all over like the U.S. and
Right.
we've had a few out of the U.S. and it's like
some South American.
there's like
a lot of
there's so
Canadian.
many like good underground bands out there, like
Oh yeah.
that have talent, but they'll never.
And if you don't
they'll
go out to
never
the
be
shows, you don't see
famous.
them.
You know, it's just like.
Well, like I say, it's like they're one of a billion, so there's a lot of voices all going at the public all at the same time, so it's hard for people to go.
We talked about it earlier. We talked.
So I tell my kids
about,
not to go into music.
Out of system transfer. We talked about out of system transfer, which is a New York based band. Well, there was a band that we interviewed that was a New York based band, and during the interview, before the interview, I'm thinking,
Eva May was.
You're in New York City, and you're trying to do the same thing that people around here are doing. You know, just get your stuff out there.
You said that about Eva
Minor, and all that. And I can't imagine doing that. Right. In an environment where there's like 30,000 other bands within 2 miles.
Right.
It's just so
well, I think
crazy.
Another issue has kind of been like...
Well, Vermont's that way now, too.
Yeah.
Every weekend.
And part of the problem is, you know, that things have evolved to a point where if you're like a young musician just starting out, you've almost been already sort of, I don't want to use the word brainwashed, but you've been sort of been marketed to not expect to make anything for what you're doing. So what, and you know, so you see people that'll go,
or
like I know, like
opposite.
Well,
I've met a lot of opposites that think that
they should have.
They're gonna be like famous because they put the song on YouTube and like.
Well, I'm talking more like going out and playing live, or even with like selling discs, you know, albums or whatever. There definitely seems to be a public attitude of, well, you should just put it up for free because isn't it more important that you get your stuff listened to? But it's like
trying
there's
to make
gotta
a
be
living.
Right, there's got to be a fine line where it's like I should be able to make a living and you should be able to.
The problem with me is I do all my shows for free.
Right.
And I've like Morpheus. We most we really made was $50 a show.
Right.
And I hate charging people. I really do. I hate it. So.
Well, you know,
I just knew forever that wasn't going to be my living. So that was the thing.
Yeah, it's a different thing. But I mean, as far as, you know, like for example, what I mean is like I told you before, I made a couple of movies. Well, you know, obviously, if you spend, you know, one of those, I bet you I spent. God, I must have spent 4 or 5 years working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd kind of like to, at the end of the day, I mean, it costs a lot of money out of pocket to go traveling around and interview people and shoot footage and, you know, buy equipment and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, I don't think it's unreasonable to say, hey, I'd like to get $10 for this DVD.
Yeah.
And yet you would still have people go, well, I'd like to watch it, but you should put it up for free because you want people to see it, don't you?
Well,
I'd like to break even on this, please.
I always try to
happen. I hit that point and I went, I'm never going to make anything. I'm just going to put them up
with
for free.
CDs. I always try to make $1.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know, that's still like you're making $1, but you're putting it into making more.
Well, because there's all that part.
You got to put money out first.
I was just going to say, people don't see that part of it. That it's like, well,
you got to buy these shirts, and they're going to cost you $500 to get this many shirts, in all these different sizes, and
or studio time.
All that stuff on that, all that stuff on that merch table is stuff that's already been bought and paid for by the artist or band.
Correct.
And now, if the people buy it,
with Punk in the Park, we couldn't
charge.
We can't charge admission at the park.
Right.
And we have the insurance.
Public park.
Right.
We have the sound guy. We have
tent rentals.
We have all that, and it's like
there's probably some kind of permits, I bet.
Yeah, so like I have a lot of
There's
work
fees
in just
for the
collecting donations, and people don't see that. Like,
right.
And they get
support Punk in the Park, people.
Like, B Music always sponsors us every year.
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, Brian's a big believer in, you know, supporting music and
you know. Chip really is too. I don't know if you know Chip from the local.
I worked with him all winter this year up in Mogul's in Kelly.
He every year, even when he was the local, he's put $400 up.
Yeah.
And now he does it like we have to go after 4th of July, go up there, and he's like, here's $400 for Punk in the Park.
Nice.
And that pays all but $100 of the insurance.
Wow.
So it's like
that's great.
Pretty good start.
And
Chip's a good guy.
He's always been supportive of Punk in the Park, all the shows we've done. He's a good guy.
Yep.
It's too bad local shut down.
Yeah.
I like the local.
Let's get his fireworks stand though.
Yeah, but I missed the local.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. We did a thrashing Thursdays there.
Really?
And like he'd pay me $300 and like I'd pay like the top band
Right.
$100.
Right.
Get the tour out there and the rest would get like
Yeah.
whatever down the line.
Yeah.
But because people play here for free all the time, but it was like Rutland on
Which,
Thursday.
don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong. I didn't mean it to sound like there was anything wrong with playing for free, but what I meant was
No.
it's sort of there's sort of almost been now it's like sort of that's the expectation where it's like no, you
Right.
should be able to go
No,
out
you
and
should be
make
able to get
something,
paid. I admit.
But if you want to play for free or you know or
Right.
that's what you got to do
And
to get
it-
your foot in the door, but there should be a point somewhere where people shouldn't expect it for free.
And when I've seen a band that I know they played for free, and I probably didn't pay a cover to get in,
Right.
it makes me even.
Well,
it makes me wanna
the clubs will pay.
Makes me want to buy the merch even more. You know, I want to buy
Like,
the CD.
I did an interview for a public access show, and the interviewer asked me kind of the same question. It was like, but the way she asked it was, "How has the music scene improved since you started?" And I.
That is a
And then she
different
called me
question.
a bummer afterwards because I was like, "Well, it hasn't." And one of the things One of the things I explained though was, and this ties in with the kind of like getting paid thing, was that okay, when I was a kid, like you knew like you had your favorite bands, you knew when they were coming out with a new record, and back then it was records, and so like to get that money, I would be mowing lawns.
Yep, me
I'd
too.
Be babysitting. I'd be
Yep.
hoarding up my lunch money for weeks at a time. You know, I'd get from
Yep.
school lunch. I'd be like, oh, I'm not going to eat for the next 3 weeks at school, but I'm going to hoard up the money so I can go out and buy the new Kiss record or whatever.
Yep.
You know, and
I mowed lawns.
yeah, mowed lawns.
I
Me
mowed
too.
lawns.
You know, and so I think where all of a sudden things became, oh, I can just do this, and I've just stolen somebody's entire catalog. You know, it's like
Right.
that quick to go.
Right.
Oh, look, the new album came out. Boom! I just grabbed it. You know, and so what it made me think of this. This time, my nephew started playing guitar, and I took him down to Long Island to get him a nice guitar, Les Paul, used Les Paul, because he'd gotten good enough where he needed a good guitar, and all the way down, he was like trying to. Hey, check out this artist, and he'd play like 20 seconds of it, and then he'd go, now check out this. And I go, well, I didn't check out the first guy yet, you know, and it was like his
The weird
attention
thing-
span and just the fact that it
I've
to me,
noticed-
That is a
I've
thing that's
noticed that
different now
technology's
than,
done
than
that
used
to
to be.
me,
The shorter
too.
attention
Yeah.
span.
Because before you had to like really skip it on a record.
yeah.
Yeah.
And or a cassette, you had to fast forward and try to
Right.
get to the right spot.
Right, exactly.
And-
Right, and it's when I hear of like a new person or new artist or something, I want to hear
Compact
like
disc
3 or
like
4
that.
songs, right off, 3 or 4 full songs,
Right.
and
Right.
then have some kind of grasp of it, you know.
Right.
But it is the today's world, the attention span is shorter,
Right.
and
Like the
Well, to me, the point I was like making with her was that like so when I got that record and I went without lunch or I was mowing lawns, I was
Yeah.
there was blood, sweat, and tears involved.
You're vested.
I had worked to get
Right,
that record.
you're vested.
So when I got it, it was like I was going to cherish everything about it. I was going to read every liner note. I was going to listen to that thing
Yep.
a million times.
damn, this
And,
sounds so familiar.
I did,
Right?
I did that with like Guns N' Roses,
Right.
Appetite for Destruction,
Right.
and like you wanted to read every fucking
Every
lyric.
bit, right? And the
Yeah.
problem is if you can just go online and literally within 5 seconds, well, I just got so and so's new album. What happens is, okay, I listened to it for a while, but because it has no value to me, I didn't put any effort into
Not
getting
vested.
it. I didn't
I'm
spend
a-
any money to get it.
I'm guilty of the
I will,
download thing.
I will throw it like once I'm bored with it, I chuck it away and I replace it with something else. And so there isn't like there was a value to music, I think, when I was growing up that doesn't necessarily exist as a general rule now. Where if it's so easy to get it for free,
Yeah.
then it's just vapor. So why it cheapens it. It makes it less respect for.
And then anybody can make it and put it online.
I met this guy once who was originally from Chester, lives in Hollywood. He was the president of Hollywood Records, which is Disney's owned record company. And he himself was the most guilty person of the thing that killed the record industry, which is illegal downloads.
Right.
And this dude had downloaded such a quantity of stuff that he had everything he downloaded, he burned onto discs, and he had to buy the house next door to put the discs in.
Oh my God!
He's told me he had 320,000 discs.
Wow.
And
that's a lot of thievery,
dude. This is the thing that has killed your very industry.
I do it just because of DJ, because I don't really want the whole catalog of like Blake Shelton,
Kenny Rogers.
I got it,
right? You know, well, I mean, seeing that's kind of the quandary we're in is like, well, yeah, it's easy enough to do and everything, but like I say, I think it kind of cheapens and lowers the respect bar as far as, you know, people have for, you know, and then I think what happened is it caused like a chain reaction. And I'm definitely going to show my age right now because what happened to me was, you know, so the way it looked to me is, you know, when you and I were growing up, you had, you know, Zeppelin 4, Dark Side of the Moon, Aqualung. I mean, you had bands that were creating these
talent.
Yeah, like these incredibly well written, well produced, well crafted.
Right, and anticipating the next one.
Right, and where is that? Where is that level of artistry now? You know, where it's like, because the record companies back then, like
some of that still happens. People, a lot of people highly anticipate.
But you have to go
the
looking
next
for
Taylor
it. The
Swift
companies
song
aren't like supporting it anymore.
No,
not for the most part.
Once in a while they do talent. Like once in a while, they got some good talent.
I think it's a lot of it's the people that surround them, but a lot of the people that are highly successful now with it are tech savvy people, like Taylor Swift, Bruno Mars that we mentioned before.
But they also started to get a lot of the Americana into the music industry for a while there. They were actually getting a lot of good bands there in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And then that kind of faded. It's faded away
a little bit, but still, currently there's still a number of, you know.
Yeah, but they made it big on the label for a little bit. Now they're like kind of on their own, but they're still doing good because.
And that's kind of my point is that because all of a sudden when the record companies started just hemorrhaging losses because, wow, people could file share, they could burn discs, they could, you know, there was immediately. They just started like, we're losing money hand over fist. So they stopped like really doing artist development and like I said, they started cutting loose.
They want people with an image that can do computers and do the
So I think what happened is now it became more product. So you can put out a lot of like you'll see a lot of bands where it's like, hey, this band's selling a lot of records. The next thing you know, there's 100 bands with the same singer singing with a weird little accent that's fake, with the same guitar
and that
sounds.
band that started it, every successive thing has
you know
to
who
be
I have a lot of love for is Jack White.
Right.
You know who that is, right?
He does. Maybe older.
Stripes.
He did White Stripes, but he like goes and plays. He did a song with Luscious Jackson.
Yeah.
He did a song with Loretta Lynn, and he
did an album with Loretta Lynn.
And he's just doing like he just bought the rights to the first ever recording of Elvis.
Right.
And
really
he repressed it like it looks like the water stained logo.
Oh yeah.
He just copied that and put it out for him.
But you know, the point you brought up too is like you know, you buy a new Mac laptop, it comes with GarageBand. So the problem is it puts the technology in the hands of people that are woefully underqualified.
Woefully underqualified. You know, I like that.
You can make anything.
Right. And you know, you have a camera in your phone, so now like video, it's the same issue is like anybody can make, you know, or at least thinks they can make, well, I can shoot video and I can make recordings, and that doesn't mean they're any good.
But, you know,
everybody's trying.
One thing that's still true is the cream does rise to the top. And even though there's now 4 billion people doing it, where there used to be like 200,000 doing it, there's still the cream rises to the top.
Right.
And the
Sometimes.
The successful endure. You know, there's a lot of people that are out there for 3 months now. There's a lot of people that are out there for 2 years
there are
now.
definitely a lot of people that are super talented that are never going to see the light of day because
as has always been true.
I mean, think about it.
Humdinger and the Buckstorm. Have you ever heard them?
Uh-uh.
They're fucking talented.
Yep.
And that bass player, he reminds me of like young Kurt.
Really?
One of my favorite bass players.
Slap
True.
bass.
Yeah.
Amazing bass player.
Yep.
Amazing bass player. And like just watching him play reminded me of like how Kurt would play.
Yeah.
They play at Rick and Katz pretty frequently.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he's just they've been working on their album. I mean, like they've been doing it themselves, and like I'm like, come on, motherfuckers, hurry up!
I like their other.
It's been like 2 years working on this album.
They have a shifted iteration too.
They're almost done.
Soul
now.
Shove,
Yeah.
which is they add.
Soul Shove is
They add their dad.
Well, it's really
That's cool.
they dropped 2 members.
They drop 2 members, add the dad.
Add the dad.
Add the dad and the cousin is on.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's all a lot of family anyway.
Wow.
And then they shift family
Where are
members.
these guys from?
West Rutland.
What?
Humdinger,
Right down the street from
Humdinger
me.
and the Bucksnorts.
All right, I'm gonna look for that.
They actually, I wrote.
It's Buck Snort. It's not
I,
plural. It's Buck Snort.
I nominated for that Rutland Herald thing for one of the
Oh, yeah,
greatest-
best band.
best of the best
No kidding.
band groups.
Really?
And they're actually on the top now because I
I voted.
nominated them.
I voted for him.
Public Park always gets nominated for the best festival. We never win, but it's cool to be
good to be in
nominated.
it.
Good to be nominated.
Yeah, just like the Oscars.
Another
It's
nomination.
an honor to be nominated.
So we should do a wrap up thing, Kyle?
Yeah,
Should we wind this shit up?
Probably.
Yeah. So we're getting near the end of the show, it seems.
Let's see.
And,
We might have to cut out the commercials.
We don't have any
talked
plan
about.
for this part of the show, but we didn't have any plan for the earlier parts
Actually,
either. So
we got one more question.
We got one more. Is it serious?
Not really, but
Oh,
it's
good. Oh,
important
thank
to
God.
the whole going out to see shows, upcoming shows.
Upcoming
Upcoming
shows and
shows.
dates
Without
for
a
Dwayne.
week out because this
Couple of
comes
weeks
a
out,
later.
week
All
out.
right. Oh, I was gonna throw out that we were playing DC
Tomorrow night.
No, we're playing at Wardsboro this Saturday.
I like
Yeah,
Wardsboro.
it will be out by then.
Where in Wardsboro, though? I'm just
Town
curious.
Hall.
All right. So anyway, dates, future dates.
Future dates.
If you can go, if you have a time machine, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be doing a bunch of acoustic shows in the next couple of weeks that I do, actually. I play in the Rutland Mall every Friday night at
Not
the
kidding.
draft room.
It's
Draft
And it's
room.
great.
Rutland
oh
Mall.
really
Yeah, it's well attended. The food's great. They got a bunch of crazy beer choices.
on Friday nights.
7 to 9. It's early.
Draft
On Friday
room?
nights.
Friday nights.
Yeah, I'm at the
Okay.
races.
Holy crap.
Sorry,
Yeah, that's all right,
I'm
but,
I like to go take my kids to the races.
and-
that's been a good gig. Saturday, I mean, coming up, let's see. I'll be doing, I think next week I'm at the Summit Lodge Saturday night, and then which is like a barbecue thing, and then Sunday I'm doing a brunch noon to 4 at the Summit.
Holy fuck.
I'll be in Lake George starting up in June on every Wednesday, a bunch of the Mondays. I'll be in Manchester at Nippers Cafe.
Manchester, Vermont.
On the patio every Thursday starting at some point, last Thursday in June. If you go to DuaneCarleton.com.
Lots
there's a whole
available out
schedule.
there. So yeah, you saw him
You still
play
doing
here.
you still doing open mics or anything
I
like
haven't
that?
done any
Holy
open mics in a
crap.
while. I will be at Moguls in
George
the
has been doing
summertime
open
on
mics.
Sunday nights. That starts in July, I think, up in Killington. That's like a 5:30 to 9 kind of a thing.
That's who we need to get.
All
on the
right,
show
so
sometime.
get out there.
George.
Check out
Yeah.
Dwayne. Check some of these dates. Get out there and see live music, damn it.
Yeah.
All right, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. This is the end of the show. This is the real end of the show.
Should we stop
End.
with
I don't give. Editing is always fun.
Wicked have to pee.
Me too.
We can't have to be. That's why he was calling it.
Wait,
How long were we on that one?
How long we? I just erased it. It was a long time. It was like
I
13.
erased it.
I didn't erase it, but I erased the timestamp. It was like 13 or something. Yeah.